Something really strange is going on with the Orlando Magic right now. One half of it is good, the other half of it is bad. We're going to get into what exactly that is in this video today after their game and win against the 76ers. Guys, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Coming out with Magic content just about every other day. Trying to build an Orlando Magic basketball community here on YouTube. So subscribing is the easiest and best way to support the channel and join the family. Let's get into what exactly is going on with Orlando that is super strange, and that's the injuries. If you've been an Orlando Magic fan, you understand what is going on, but today just I can't even believe that I'm saying this, but today was probably the worst and the most egregious example of this season being injury filled, injury riddled, and of course this team comes out on top just like they always do with the power of friendship. But this tweet really summed it all up. Jeremy Brenner covers the Orlando Magic, does a great job, so shout out to him. Bitadze left the game with a hip injury, and that was a big part of what happened today, but he was counting the injuries. We got both the Wagner brothers out. Obviously Mo Wagner's out for the season, so I don't want that to appear too cheap, but he's out for the year. Franz is out for probably the next couple of weeks still. Gary Harris has been out. Jalen Suggs can't go through any contact right now, Jamahl Mosley said prior to the game. And out before the tip, KCP, sore knee, jet, ankle, leaving the game. Bitadze. Tristan da Silva left the game in 1 minute. Now, his was reportedly due to an illness, so we'll have to see exactly what comes of that. He might be ready for the next game. Who knows? He's probably just some sort of stomach bug. Maybe they had him out there to just have enough guys out on the court to start the game. He was literally relieved in about 1 minute. Anthony Black came in for him, and we'll wait on an update for that. I don't really think anything serious. Obviously, I don't think there's some sort of injury, and they're just saying it's an illness. I just think he's just sick or something like that. And this game was very up and down. There was moments where you're thinking, how can we possibly come back? But Cole Anthony kept the Magic in play, and how could you? I mean, how could you be even surprised by the way that he ended up playing basketball? But let's talk about the Bitadze injury before we get into the overall effects of this game and what this means in the standings and what it meant to beat the 76ers team that had Paul George, who decided to go to Philly rather than the Orlando Magic. Well, Bitadze has been the starting center now for us for a good chunk of the year. Wendell Carter Jr. started out the year injured, as Wendell Carter Jr. has struggled with in years past. Ironically, he is now healthy and has been one of the healthier aspects of this team lately. But Bitadze came in and he flourished in his role. I remember asking you guys, hey, should he stay in the starting lineup? Is he that kind of guy? Can he be that starting center? I think we all knew in the back of our mind that he could, but we were just trying to see it for a longer period of time. We saw it a little bit last year, but we want to see it a little bit more. And his defense has been extremely vital to this team. He's averaging almost 10 points per game, and his rebounding is still off the charts. That never went down. Obviously, he's super efficient from the field, and he doesn't stretch the floor as much as you would like potentially in this NBA, but he does everything else so well that he is extremely valuable to this team. Now, this injury could definitely throw a wrench into things, but we had some guys play pretty well today, like Jonathan Isaac, like Cole Anthony, and hopefully we get some of the guys back that you saw in the injury report over the next handful of games, such as KCP, Jet Howard, maybe even Suggs or Gary Harris. Hopefully we get some of those guys back very soon. But missing now Mo Wagner and Bitadze can definitely cripple the front court, especially if you're going to try to rely on Jonathan Isaac and Wendell Carter Jr. But I wanted to get into how they played in this game because they played extremely well, and they deserve their own praise. Jonathan Isaac, season high, 20 points in this game. He was 8 of 13 from the floor, had some clutch buckets late, and he also hit this with a little bit of time to spare within the final quarter. So he was really good. Wendell Carter Jr. wasn't really able to find his footing offensively, but we didn't need it. It was Paolo Banchero got 20 points. He found it more so at the free throw line, but still very good. Hit that 20-point mark late in the game with some clutch free throws, and then Cole Anthony with 27 points. Obviously, an amazing game, and then Anthony Black played extremely well too. This team does some serious damage when they have multiple guys who could score 20 points. Tonight we had 3 guys score 20 points for us. So let's talk about what this game was for the Magic and how it ended up unfolding. Well, it was close throughout. End of the first quarter was kind of more so just the paint advantage for the Magic. They led 16-6 over the 76ers in that regard, and Cole Anthony was leading the scores, and that was the way that it was the rest of the game. He had 11 points. There was a certain point in the game where I thought, where would we be without Cole Anthony? That was pretty much the first half, and then going into the second half in the third quarter did some extra damage. But it was him and Tyrese Maxey. Cole Anthony had 20 points at halftime. Tyrese Maxey had 22. Philadelphia didn't really have much scoring in this game outside of anybody else. It was Joel Embiid who was the one who was their main star that was out, and it was Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. Those were the guys who were playing, and they just really couldn't get it done. They didn't have much else on the bench either, and that was a huge story in this game. Despite having a crippled bench, 8 guys, 8 active players in the third quarter, the Magic outscored the 76ers bench by a mile, 48-11. Huge point of emphasis in this game for the Magic was that scoring off the bench, because we needed some sort of scoring as everybody's going down. So this game was going into the fourth, the 76ers led 77-73. Paolo Banchero kind of took over a little bit towards the end there and was able to hit, like I said, some free throws late. And then, Anthony Black played extremely well throughout the entire game. So what does this game exactly mean for the Orlando Magic, and what am I saying is so strange about what's going on? Well, the Orlando Magic are the 5th seed somehow, some way. They are right in the middle and the thick of things. But the Bucks lost by 30 points today, I believe. So we'll do a standings check in just a second. But they're right in the middle of the Eastern Conference, and somehow where every player is dropping like flies. And I think it's really interesting. If you've been a fan of the Orlando Magic for a long time, you understand that injuries are a part of the game of basketball. You're not a franchise that has been spoiled with health. We've seen a lot of draft picks, especially big men, just not pan out in a way that they should because of injuries or just never take off. Guys on this Orlando Magic basketball team have struggled with injuries, like Jonathan Isaac, Wendell Carter Jr., even some of the guards on this team. Jalen Suggs, who is out right now, struggled with injury. It was very rare that we got a guy like Franz Wagner, who was an Iron Man prior to this season, right? And even Paolo Banchero was kind of somebody who you can rely on to play a decent amount of games. In the first 2 years, he didn't suffer an injury like a torn oblique. I mean, he had bumps and bruises, but he was still pretty reliable for the most part and didn't come into the NBA with a major injury history. But there's something going on right now. I don't know if it is the training staff. There has been a lot of talk about, hey, fire everybody on the training staff. I'm not saying that. I would never really call for anybody's job like that, because I'm not there and I don't know what's going on. And some of these are freak injuries. They're pro athletes. They're active every day. The odds in a contact sport like basketball, even it's not football, I get it, but in a contact sport like basketball, people are going to get hurt. But there's got to be some sort of internal look-see. Investigation, if you will. Investigation might be too strong of a word, but there's going to have to be somebody who looks into this, because I've never seen a team suffer this many injuries. And I think they're getting a lot of publicity because they're somehow surviving this, because this would be a tank year for anybody else in the NBA, I almost feel like, right? Like outside of the top teams with championship level depth. And I think we're showing that we have championship level depth, but prior to this season, we wouldn't have guessed that, right? This team just somehow has been able to stick together, and that's admirable. But this cannot continue to happen. Now, what does this team do about it? Probably nothing this season, but we're gonna probably hopefully make some changes as far as anything with the training medical staff. I mean, you're gonna have to essentially install like an emergency room in the part of the Kia Center. Like, this is getting really, really bad. Guys are going down like flies, but we don't have any updates on how serious any of the injuries were tonight, whether or not Tristan Silva is going to be back for them next game, and it was just a stomach bug or anything like that. What the injuries are for KCP and Jet Howard as far as severity, we'll have to end up seeing. But what we do know in other news was that Jalen Suggs, as I mentioned earlier, is not going through contact. He's definitely taking an extended rest period. They're going to bring him back slowly. He came back and forth with a ton of injuries during that stretch where he was trying to cover for Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. We know that more so now, confirmed. He's probably going to miss a little bit of time. But outside of that, I think this team will get, hopefully, healthy or have more guys on the court than 8 and 8 available in the third quarter. But let me know what you guys think. I think this is extremely strange. Haven't seen it in anything like this. Certainly haven't seen this in Magic basketball since I've started watching. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And I will see you guys next time with some more Orlando Magic basketball content.